Hey guys, what's up? Skc Sebby here, coming at you with a new OP02 Doffy gameplay video. Guys, Doffy's the best blue leader. Let's just get that out of the way. If you're Team Ivankov, go kick rocks. No, I'm kidding. But I just wanted to bang on my desk and just rumble your eardrums a little bit. It's been forever since I've posted a video, and it's because I was experiencing burnout with card prices going through the roof and not being able to get into the treasure cups. It's just kind of been a drag, to say the least, but we're out of the mud. We're out of the mud, and I'm ready to bring you guys some more content. So, that being said, deck profile will be at the end of the video, and let's get right into it. I'm going to try to go slower for you guys. We did a poll, and we saw that you guys wanted slower gameplay, so I'm going to try to do that for you. We won the dice roll here against Kinemon, and we opt to go second. That's because Kinemon loves to go second. That's their whole shtick. So we make them go first. They lose an extra card, and they don't get to play their Okikus on curve. So that's why we do that. Here, we didn't have a starter, so we opt to play Alvida. The reason we're playing our Alvida here is because this card is actually really good against Kinemon. When attacking, you attach one Dawn. When attacking, you may trash one card from your hand, return up to one character, 3 costs or less, to the hand. Our opponent's character, sorry. It's just good. It's going to bounce the Okikus. Any of those when attacking effects that green loves to play, they'll just never see the light of day as long as this is on the board. It's a little bit of a threat. So, unfortunately, playing a 2K does, suck, but with it applying so much pressure, I think it's just very worth it. Here he swings at us. We take that. I don't know. Whenever I'm playing Doffy, I always take the first swing. I just want the cards in my hand. I feel like this deck, even though we are playing cards off the top, it is kind of hard to keep a good hand size because the cards we play are rested. So here we play our 1-drop Doffy. This is the OP02 Doffy. The 1-drop. He's just a new starter for the Doffy deck. Pretty good, honestly. He has also, same thing as Alvida, he has an attached on when attacking. We can bottom deck a 1 cost or less. Very strong. You saw what we stacked. We stacked Gecko, Mihawk, and another Gecko. Not the best, but we need to play something. I'm a very avid believer in playing something off the leader effect as soon as possible. We just want to swing 7, apply that pressure, and we want to play something off the top to go wide. Here our opponent makes a little bit of a misplay. He decides to play the X-Drake before either attacking or playing something. I don't know. It was just very bad sequencing here, and I wanted to point it out. No hate on my opponent, but he should have swung 5 at my Gecko, make me pitch a card, and then play the X-Drake. So, a bit of a misplay there, and it's definitely going to cost him. I think he made a couple misplays here in this replay that are going to cost him. As you saw, we comboed the 2K. We have another Gecko on the top, so we're not worried about pitching those 2Ks. We're just going to get it right back, so that's just free combo. No reason to take that damage. Swing 7. Our opponent takes it. They're not going to combo out of 7 this early. We play our 3-drop. We need to get our engine going now that we went through the top 3. Now we need to see some new stuff. We're going to stack our deck here. We're going to stack the Boa and then the 6K Gecko Moria. That 6K Gecko Moria is also new. That's from OP2. Being able to play a 6K off the top with your leader is honestly very strong because they come rested. So that's why we're opting to play that card. And that's honestly why I opted to put that first over the Boa. Our opponent uses leader, and then he plays the 8-drop Odin. Kind of scary, but I think that was a misplay on my opponent's part again. I think we're already too wide now that playing that before playing anything else just wasn't the move, but maybe it was. I mean, you're going to see our opponent missed having game a few times. We also misplay a few times here in this replay, but it's good to go over. So we swing 7, typical game plan, play the 6K off the top. We're then going to swing 7 again. We're just trying to apply as much pressure as possible. Now that that 8 drop has hit the board, we need to end this game fast, because that thing will kill us in 2, maybe 3 turns. So here we're going to swing with the Alvita. Alvita isn't going to see her use in this game, because now I'm not worried about any of his 3 drops. I'm more worried about that 8 drop, and I'm more worried about those 1 drop blockers. As you saw, he pitched one there. So our 1 drop Doffy can get rid of those. Does the same thing as Alvita in a sense. Here our opponent plays strange card. I haven't seen anybody play that card, but it was a little spicy. He KO'd our 6k, and then he's going to swing 8 on our Gecko. We're going to opt to not protect that. We need to keep these cards for when he decides to go aggressive and swing at our life. He's going to tap down the blocker. He's going to swing at the blocker. The blocker, I don't understand why people do that, I guess. I mean, it does force out the blocker, but that blocker was going to block a swing anyway. I think maybe you could have just kept that 4 drop and maybe tap down the 1 drop after swinging a couple times and then attack over the 1 drop. So now all your stuff's protected. But like I said, opponent's misplaying, I'm misplaying. We're getting used to it, getting right back into it. Here I'm debating what to do. There's not going to be a turn where I can play this Mihawk ever after this turn. And I was thinking about that in my head. I'm thinking, do we play Ivankov? We're not going to get the draw off the Ivankov, but we are getting 2 bodies on the board. But if we do that, we can never play Mihawk. Now that that Odin is on the board, we need to find something to get rid of that. Mihawk is going to be one of the only cards I can do that. So here, we're going to play the Mihawk, and we're going to bottom deck the Yamato, I believe. As you saw, we swung 6 at his X-Drake. He had too much Dawn open to where I wasn't comfortable committing any more Dawn, especially since I wanted to play this Mihawk. So we just swung 6, get the card out of his hand, and then bottom deck it. Goodbye. Ooh, we actually ended up bottom decking the X-Drake. I guess it doesn't really matter, but that was a misplay. We should have bottom decked the Yamato because that card calls itself Odin. Even though he has that 8 drop Odin already, we just need to get rid of anything that has Odin in the name so that those 1 drop blockers that he plays are dead. Swings 8, we take it. We can't afford to combo out of anything. We're very close to lethal range. It just takes my opponent deciding to commit most of his Dawn into these 2 swings here, restand his Kinemon, swing again, and we could probably just lose right there. Even if we do block it, we do have this blocker. Even if we did decide to block there, our opponent has 3 life. We're not killing them. We're not going to kill him on the next turn, and we need to commit a lot to kill that Odin, and that Odin does play something after we kill it. So this is why I'm saying I think my opponent misplayed here, and we kind of stole this win because we should have been dead. I think this turn, if he would have decided to just turn up the gas, we would have died on the following turn. But our opponent decides to not turn up the gas, and you're going to see how he loses. So he plays his Law. It's strong, I guess. He doesn't really have anything to bounce with it, but it is Law. So it's pretty good. Decides to play his one. Deciding to play cards before swinging. I get I don't have the Dawn open, but if I take the life and I hit a trigger effect that bounces one of those, it's just such a feels bad. There's no reason to play like that. Guys, make sure you're playing cards, then swinging. Obviously, there are cases where you want to play cards first, then swing, but in a scenario like that, you want to swing first, then play those cards. So here what we're going to do is we're going to attach 4 to this 1 drop, Doffy, and swing at the Yamato. So, like I said, I'm reading that he has another Paradise Waterfall in his hand, which is going to allow that Law to block twice. So what we need to do is we need to bottom deck the 1 drop blocker, and we need to make sure that everything is trading well. So this 6 on 6 here is if he decides to block, like do the double block play, we put him on only 1 blocker, so he only has 2 blocks, so we can always attack over that Odin. We also do this because that law. We don't want him to get a free block. We want to force the Paradise Waterfall. So that's why we start off with just this. We bottom deck it. Our opponent goes, oh man, that's a good effect. And lets it die. As soon as he let it die, I knew he didn't have the Paradise. I knew right off gate, because he would have just used his Paradise to restand either the Odin or restand, block with the law, restand the law. He could have restood the Odin as well. Actually, now that I'm like thinking about it, he could have just Paradise restand Odin and we would have just got absolutely cucked over, but it didn't happen. So you always got to put your opponent on better habit. We decide here, swing 8. There's really no reason to swing 8 there. He only has 1 card, but we're just trying to get the value out of our Dawn. It's kind of dumb, but we have nothing that's 1 cost that we can play on our opponent's turn, so there's really just no reason not to. Our opponent here, again, it's going to be misplaying, I think. I think he should have just tried to go face. I think you got to call Doffy's bluff a lot of the time. Doffy doesn't really have counter like that. Like, as soon as you see a lot of the 2Ks come out of their hand, that's usually it for counter. There is a good amount of 1Ks, but you can always just attach Dawn and get rid of all of those. I mean, just making that Okiku a 7 and swinging at life when I only have 3 cards in hand is very strong, even if I have the 2 Dawn up. So our opponent here swings at lead, we block, swings again, combo. Now what? Now what? He decides that's it, and this is where we're at. We're debating on what to do here. We are going to play the Perona. We need to play something off the Doffy. That's the only way we're going to win this game. We need to keep going wide to make sure that they can't just flood out a bunch of blockers, which green loves to do. So we're stacking our deck here. We already have a Luffy. Don't need it. I believe I stacked this. I stack it wrong. Especially with the Ivankov draw that's going to be coming up. So we definitely stacked that wrong. That was my bad. My misplay here. We're swinging 7 on 6 on the tapped 6. We don't want to swing at his face because we cannot kill him. I don't want to risk him seeing anything crazy like a 7-drop kid blocker and that 1 card actually being a hell or a Paradise Waterfall. Because our opponent is misplaying now, I really don't know what's in our opponent's hand. So I'm just kind of praying at this point now. We're going to play it. We're going to play the Luffy. I'm debating if I should use it. I should have used it, I think. Actually, no. I shouldn't have used it. I shouldn't have used it. I'm going to correct myself right here. You're going to see it live. I should not have used that effect. The reason why I shouldn't have is because when you have 0 cards in hand and your opponent has 3 cards on the board and you only have 2 life, it's pretty straightforward how to kill me there. Even now, honestly, with only 2 cards in my hand, it should have been pretty easy to kill me, but our opponent is kind of a bot. I'm not gonna lie, kind of a bot. He swings 5, doesn't commit the Dawn. Don't know why. There's just no reason not to. Now he decides to commit to the 7, but he can't kill me anymore. At least, not confidently. He can't kill me confidently. What he should have done is he should have made this 9, and he should have... Wow, now that I'm watching this back, my opponent should have killed me like 100 times over. I'm saying like he couldn't have killed me, but like... If he would have just made that, if he would have just put 2 extra Dawn on his leader, swing, I'd take it. Right? How much Dawn would he have left? He'd have 4 Dawn left? If he had 4 Dawn, he'd make that law a 10. I would have had to have 3 2Ks in my hand to win the game. Dude, you gotta put me on better habit at that point. I mean, come on. But alright, opponent misplays, doesn't see lethal. A lot of people in these Bandai card games don't realize when you have lethal. Guys, when it comes to these turns at the end here, and you have more swings than blockers, or if you have more swings than their current life, you got to start doing math in your head. You got to start thinking, what could my opponent have? If he decided to just swing 7 first, I probably would have taken it. I wouldn't have comboed out of it, and then he would have just had easy lethal right there. Because my opponent is just, he's just not thinking that way. He's just not seeing. When you're playing, guys, you need to sit back and you need to really think when you're going for game. How much combo could my opponent possibly have in their hand? You need to look at their graveyard. You need to look at the cards that they're playing. You need to notice how many cards don't have counter and how many cards do have counter. It's a good way to tell, you know, what your opponent's playing. I mean, this game isn't as cut and dry as other card games are when it comes to meta game. Everyone's deck is completely different. Everyone's playing different ratios on cards. Everyone's playing more counter, less counter. So it is kind of hard to make those reads, but sometimes in games like this, you need to do that. There is no shot he is surviving next turn. There is absolutely no way. Even with a I keep saying Hell's, my bad guy. Even with the Paradise Waterfall, there's absolutely no way he's surviving. So when you take notice of things like that, you need to find a lethal. He had lethal, he completely tossed it, and you're gonna see me just snake a win right from it. These are things that people do at events. These are just common occurrences that you will see. People do misplay, and we need to capitalize on them. The fact that I got another turn here is insane. And watching it back on the replay, I didn't think the misplay was that bad, but it actually was that bad. And I can already see people in the comments going, dude, this guy is a bot. A little bit. I'm not going to hate on my opponent too bad, but definitely not perfect player. Definitely not the perfect player. So we swing 7, he takes it, obviously. I'm like debating what to do here. Just in case he does ever see that Hell's Paradise, we just want to make sure that we're killing him. We're going to swing 7 here. If he does see it, you know, he's going to have to combo everything to get rid of it, and then we can just poke over everything else that's on his board. He doesn't have it. He combos out of the 7k Perona, and yeah, end up winning that game. Yeah, guys, that's the win. Definitely an undeserved win, and I'm gonna be real with y'all. I didn't realize how bad he misplayed. I thought the misplays, I knew the misplays were there, but I didn't think they were that bad. Obviously, my opponent was a new player. Let's not bag on him. I know I called him a bot. It's just jokes. I'm not trying to take away from the new players. If you guys are new, if this is gonna happen. It comes with playing games for the first time. You're gonna misplay, and honestly, misplays like that will happen to some of the best players because they will just not realize they have game. There's so many other things that you have to worry about that you just won't realize that, hey, wait, I had game. So, guys, it's a teachable moment. When you're in those scenarios, those late game scenarios, if you have more characters than your opponent has life, it should always be that you should always consider that you have game. And you need to start calculating how many cards does he have in hand? How much combo could he realistically have? How much active dawn does he have? What combo has he already used? You know, look at your opponent's graveyard or drop area. What's there? You know, stuff like that. Guys, with that being said, this is the list. I'm not the most confident with this list. I definitely want to change this list up. I cut the Kuma package with the Pacifistas. I still think the Kuma and the Pacifistas are good. My problem is that you need to draw a Pacifista, number 1. Number 2, Pacifista does nothing. It's a brick in reality. If you do not see Kuma, that card is a brick. There are better cards. So I tried a list where we took that out, put a few different options in. We put in Boa, we put in Mihawk, we bumped up some ratios, lowered some ratios. I'm still tweaking this list. I think this list is pretty nice, but it definitely needs a little more testing. And with that being said, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all of you that decide to watch and support the channel. You guys are the best, and hopefully I will be back to pumping out content as usual. Yep. guys. Have a good one. Peace.